I did door-to-door sales, I did drop shipping, I did FBA, I bought vending machines, I bought ATMs. I literally did everything under the sun to make money. It's actually a really interesting story because how everything in the past, it seemed like a failure. It all actually really tied up to my first winning business model. I scaled that to like 30,000 a month. Divine intervention moment where I'm like, okay, something is pulling me in this direction. I was making a lot of money, but my mental health was suffering. My relationships were suffering. My physical health was suffering. Those videos just went crazy viral on YouTube. Like they ended up going like hundreds of thousands of views, me teaching YouTube automation.
You're basically hooking people up with the secret key to YouTube. I'm going to learn as much as I can in the next hour. So I have a tendency to cuss. Does the algorithm check that out?
So it depends how much you cuss, the types of cusses you do.
Yeah. In the military and law enforcement, all this stuff, and we all
100%.
Talk a lot of trash. I want to be real too, so it's like people like authenticity as well. I'm not trying to offend people. I'm just trying to be myself.
You launched a meme coin, and within one day, it hit $70 billion market cap. It's not such a crazy, it's not a stretch to believe that you could start your own business and become, financially free on your own.
If you're kind of a creative person, man, YouTube is the way to go. Guys, if you're watching this video, can you just watch one video for 1 hour?
AI is really just it's a game changer.
I'm not selling anything. I'm just helping people. And that's kind of my jam.
I got some sauce for you. People who have come from the military, who have experienced a lot of trauma, who have a lot of people have PTSD coming out of that. They inspire each other, they motivate each other. You said when you've been wanting to do this since you were a kid,
Yeah.
And here you are, which is amazing, bringing it to life. Feel free to just reach out to me on Instagram. It's a short one. It's called It's Vic.
Welcome back to the Tim Teaches podcast. I'm your host, Tim McCoy. So today's content is a little bit different. I am in the business of helping people, and I feel like this information could actually help you and change your life if you follow along, take notes. My guest, Victor Katrina, he is a YouTube mastermind. Victor, welcome to Tim Teaches, and I'm excited to pick your brain and hear your story.
Absolutely, Tim. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Right on. I appreciate it. So yeah, like I said, YouTube's not really my wheelhouse, but I've been doing it. I've been learning it the last 4 months, and my channel is going up. I'm very popular in South Africa. We're at for some reason, but man, today is kind of an interesting day in the United States. Everybody's popping up in their TikTok, and it is banned. And so I know this might not be evergreen content because I'm sure they're going to get it fixed, because I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there freaking out right now because their whole business is shut down.
Everyone's talking about it for sure. It's crazy. I mean, for me, look, I'm on the YouTube side, so it doesn't affect me, other than the fact that it's bringing a little attention and popularity to YouTube, since of course, like I mentioned, the people that ended on that business model for their income and their livelihood. I don't know what they're up to, so it does kind of call for the means of searching for something else, in parallel or something different. So it's an interesting time we're living in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like to say I was sad about it, but I'm like, man, all my stuff's on YouTube and Instagram right now. I kind of want to jump into your story a little bit. Maybe just kind of run me through how did you get started with YouTube? Do you kind of remember like your first time jumping on YouTube and thinking, dude, I can make videos like this? And what was that first video like for you?
Yeah, great question. And a funny story, like that process started all the way back when I was 13, and I'm 29 now. So I definitely come quite a long way since. But I started my first YouTube channel at 13 just because I saw it happening. I saw this world around me that was people posting videos and making money from it and running these online businesses. And it was fairly interesting. So I started posting content, and passion, my artistic outlet was graphic designs. And so I started a passion for that. I just started creating these videos and caught wind, and YouTube does what it does best, and it shares your content. And so it did. And they shared it with the right audience, and people saw what I did. They really enjoyed it, and they decided to start paying me. And so I realized, okay, I could actually turn this into a bit of a business.
So back then, was it the same kind of process with all the tags, and like there's all this SEO now out there? Was it the same to get your videos pushed out there, or was it a little bit easier because there wasn't quite so many people doing it.
Yeah, kind of like a double-edged sword because it was much easier given that the platform had like a significantly less competition. So it's a lot less saturated and a lot less popular to create content back then. Um, but then again, the double-edged sword is that the SEO was a lot more important and more prevalent than it is now. Not that it's, of course, it's not important, but YouTube has taken a huge shift in terms of how they actually prioritize or actually categorize, rather, the content. And so, for many different niches and industries, you kind of don't need to focus primarily on SEO, but rather kind of human optimized SEO. So you optimize your videos for humans, not for the AI or for the algorithm, rather. And so it really depends on the type of content that you do. If you do how-to tutorials, you're trying to target people based on specific keywords, then yes, SEO is still more prevalent than ever. But for many, many people, you've seen a huge shift in the way people title their videos these days. It's not per keyword driven; it's more like emotionally driven.
Mhm.
So that's a big shift that's happened that never existed back in the day, where you can get away now with like a really short, interesting, like straight to the point title that has maybe one keyword versus a full, jacking up as many keywords as you can to rank type of
Yeah.
title.
So for my videos, I'm kind of new to this space, but I'm using like vidIQ and
Right, right,
Descript
right.
to help me. And it's coming up with these titles, and one ChatGPT will tell me this is a great title, and then Descript will give me something different, and then vidIQ is saying nope, those are all trash, and I'm like, geez, I don't know which one to use. And so it's just, I don't know if I'm trying to be emotional or if I'm trying to you know, use keywords that actually will pop up when people are looking for that kind of content.
Right, 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 right. I mean, it's a slippery slope trying to figure it out because it really depends on who you're trying to target. If you want to rank organically by people searching up specific keywords, then yeah, really got to drive those keywords in there and do them strategically. You can't just throw random words in there. You really have to
Yeah.
make it look organic. But again, for the most part, if you could really bring out curiosity or just evoke some sort of emotion, emotional based titling is typically going to supersede keyword based because humans drive the platform, right? So if you can evoke emotions and the type of emotions that people want to share and comment and engage, that's enough to get your video to rank significantly higher than it is to just slam a bunch of keywords in there. So yeah, it really depends on the type of keywords. And the best way to do this is just editors. Study them and look at the way they're doing their titling. If you see them hyper focused and concentrated on keywords, then go that route. If you see them doing something a little bit differently and just you see them trying to uh, create some sort of emotion through their titling, then that's the move in your niche.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm kind of doing podcasting, and I'm a veteran and former law enforcement, and now I'm on this woo
Right,
this woo thing, and so I'm in the healing space,
right,
and
right,
um yeah, for me, I'm kind of like when I'm creating key thumbnails, I'm trying to create something that would be interesting to click on, but I don't know if I'm screwing myself up by everything is different on every video, and so my branding gets screwed up. Like you look at, Sean Ryan show, and it's all the same. It just has their pictures, the guest, him, and the title, and I don't know which way's better. I know you do mostly faceless channels, but I
right, right,
assume
right, right.
yeah, I assume that you're dialed into what a good thumbnail is supposed to be.
Fundamentally, yeah, it's all the same for sure. The concepts do remain. Yeah, no, it's a the podcast space has its own unique look per se. Like just there's a brand identity across podcast thumbnails. Pretty a lot of content around it for sure. You kind of see most people doing the same thing, and so that's fine to kind of blend in because you also want people to understand what they're about to watch. Like if you give
Mhm.
them the preface that there's two faces there and a bit of like text to really give that preface, that's perfect because you don't want to trick someone into thinking it's something else. They click, it's just a podcast,
Yeah.
right? So you do also want to be very clear and intentional in space about what the video actually is about, right? So it's can't stray too far away from it. I just think you can make them really, really pretty and really capitalize on that real estate you have on the thumbnail
Mhm.
and that bring the emotion out,
Okay.
right? Give like one really heavy hitting line, 3, 4 words, in between you and that other person, something that's being in the video that's really interesting and captivating, that just kind of emphasizes the topic, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm slowly going. I mean, my first video was complete
Yeah,
trash, and now it's come a
of
long way in
course.
my
Of course.
opinion. I'm like, but 4 months in,
Most
I'm like,
definitely.
I've made some serious progress. Learning how to do all this stuff.
Amazing.
But one thing is like, and I don't know, when you're doing a title, say for a podcast or a channel that's kind of all in one niche, does it screw you up to like, put at the end of it your name or podcast so people understand that this is part of that group of, you know, that content creator,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
does that screw you up on the algorithm? Because
Mm.
every time I do it,
No,
DC
for sure,
or
for sure.
vidIQ says, "Oh, that's trash," you know?
Right, right, right. No, of course, like it doesn't understand the intention or like the sub niche that you're in, which is again podcasting. So I would 100% for keyword for ranking purposes, put your name and everything.
Okay.
For sure, because you want people that when they search you up, that your video is obviously attached to that, and it's organically going to help you rank. So yeah, in your specific circumstance, for sure. If you're someone that's just creating content casually online, I wouldn't just name drop yourself
Sure.
in all those
Okay.
places. It's not necessary, of course, because you could just do that through channel tags and stuff. So people search you, your channel will come up. That's what they
Yeah.
need. But for you specifically, it's definitely okay.
Right on, man. So you started this at 13. What was your first monetization from YouTube, and how much did you make?
Yeah. Oh God. See, the thing is, it worked a little bit differently back then. You didn't need the 1,000 subscribers. I think you
Yep.
still needed 4,000 hours, perhaps. It was a while back, but I actually first started making money outside of the AdSense
Okay.
world. So it wasn't directly from YouTube, but rather from people. So when I started posting these videos, again, they caught traction. People came to me. They were like, "Hey, can I buy this?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Pay me? Like, pay me?"
Yeah.
But yeah. So I did. And it was small things, 20, $30 here and there. But they started adding up to the point where I was 16, 17. I had almost 10,000 subscribers and
Okay.
bought myself a custom computer to just make better renders and whatever. And that was kind of that whole inception of, wow, I can make money online. And that really opened up literally the entire world of entrepreneurship to me. And then from there, just it really, really scaled up. At 17, unfortunately, though, I had a tragic event of losing my channel. It got terminated.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, like I think I was doing some sketchy things to get more subscribers, and YouTube didn't like it. So quite unfortunate because again, a lot of my identity was wrapped around YouTube at the
Yeah.
time. But then again, I had to find something new. So I really jumped in headfirst to a lot of different things. I got into like almost every MLM I could find, to be honest, because I was just the lowest bidder. That didn't really play out in my favor. And I did door-to-door sales. I did drop shipping. I did FBA. I bought vending machines. I bought ATMs. I literally did everything under the sun to
You're
make
a
money. And
hustler.
most of them, to be honest, yeah, for sure. It was in my blood, for sure. And unfortunately, most of them literally sees no results. So just very minimal results. I made some money, but nothing to brag about. And it was kind of that series of unfortunate events that finally led to my first successful business, which was a marketing agency. And so it's actually a really interesting story because how everything in the past it seemed like a failure, it all actually really tied up to my first winning business model, which again was the marketing agency. I scaled that to like 30,000 a month, still with a lot of friction in between to get to that point. And an emphasis I want to make, like a really cool parallel of that come up story, was really just like the value in the failure that I experienced. I literally, I I failed everything, right? Like, and it sucked because again, I told you, there's a lot of resistance against being an entrepreneur since I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. And so they wanted me to do the traditional route of, going to school, working a traditional job, etc. It's more safe, it's more, and given I just kept failing again and again and again and spending more money and just, not only did my ego take a massive hit, but there was again just that external um, you know, people were just the people around me were not very supportive per se. So I had a lot of resistance per se.
Yeah. They didn't
And so it
understand
was
what
really
you were
difficult
doing.
to find it for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had to find that own internal like determination and willpower to push through, persevere one business to another, failure after another. And what I want to say is like by the end of it, when I finally got this marketing agency, all these failures that seemed to be failures were actually these step-ons that led to my success because to run the full stack agency that I did, I needed to know how to run Facebook ads, how to build a Facebook page, how to do social media growth and all that kind of stuff, which I had to do to build like my own dropshipping store, all these different things that I did, which again, all failed. But those accumulation of skill sets that I had, which finally, when I had the marketing agency, were the reason that I was able to lead up to the 30,000 a month. So it was a failure or a series of failures was actually the reason why I was able to finally lead. And that's why I put a lot of emphasis on the value of failure, on the importance of failure, and to really just, I do love and I do appreciate all of the resistance and all the tribulations that I've gone through, because they've all led up to where I am, and these series of events and also stances where I was able to build up myself, my skill sets, and also again resilience, massive resilience, like to fail over and over again with the external factors playing a big part in that. It was very difficult, but again, I had mentioned this. I had two of my all-time biggest fears, and I can kind of get into why I had those fears. But my two biggest fears are essentially not living up potential and building someone else's dream. And so those two fears don't really necessarily coincide with having a 9 to 5. That's why I could never really go down that path. And I knew I was kind of destined for something, just because I always found myself in a leadership position and thriving in that leadership position. And also when I found something I was passionate about, I could do 14 to 15-hour days, consistently with no issues. So yeah, it's kind of just that's the come up journey that led to where I got to. So COVID came and it did what it does best, and it tore my business to the ground. Because I only had local clients, dealerships.
Oh.
And through those dealerships, their businesses shut down. I was the first to go. Do marketing when you can't sell cars. And I had to make a choice, to either get back in and pick up some new clientele or redirect. And so I was like, I need to find something. The same month where I lost all my clients, I lost all my income that same month, which is crazy. Zero, like 100 to zero. It was wild. The same month that happened, I got an email from YouTube saying that they reinstated my account, the one that they shut down almost a decade ago. There was this huge, almost divine intervention moment where I'm like, okay, something is pulling me in this direction. I think I should really explore that seriously. So I dissolved the company. I really wasn't too happy with the means of it anyway. Felt very kind of upset with, I was not in a good place. I was making a lot of money, but my mental health was suffering. My relationships were suffering. My physical health was suffering. I was at the beck and calling of all my clients. So although I was making all that money on the surface level, it was very difficult. So yeah, that opportunity came. And that's kind of what brought me back into YouTube. And it's literally now just crazy. Been 5 years since. So I went headfirst into the automation model. I know COVID, half a decade now. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I'm like, it's just like the other day.
Insane. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I went headfirst into the automation model. I mean, it took me about a year, an entire year to try and crack that code. I think I spent like $30,000 on content creation, different channels, so many videos. Finally got my first YouTube video go viral, then second channel, and really scaled from there because I kind of felt like I figured out that system. People around me naturally were very interested in what I'm doing and wanted a piece of it. So I started teaching, friends and family. They started seeing success. Amazing. From there, people started catching wind and shared their success, and more people wanted support. So I feel or justified, helping everyone because it was taking away from my own personal time. So I just made some YouTube videos. I was like, I'll just make these videos. You guys can have the videos, study them, and I'll help you here and there whenever I can. I posted those videos just where a platform where I could share. And those videos just went crazy viral on YouTube. Like they ended up going like hundreds of thousands of views, me teaching YouTube automation. And I was like, okay, wow, I think I landed in some niche randomly. And from there, I built like a mini community, which turned to a large community, which then by demand, they were like, drop a course. We need the most detailed everything. And I was like, all right, I'll drop a course. That ended up being like wildly successful, which is amazing. But from there, again, I really felt that inclination because I was able to help a lot of people, but YouTube is not, there's a lot of nuances to YouTube that a course can't cover versus, a more impersonal one-on-one style of coaching. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'll go all in. I'm more there, put both feet in. And so I just built a full-fledged coaching program. We have multiple coaches doing 6-7 figures. We have 9 calls a week. We have a community, the course, like the whole 9. And yeah, hundreds of students that are successful. And I guess one thing that I take away from my program, which I value, is that we have more students making money than not,
Yeah.
which you don't often find in many programs. Usually a huge discrepancy of students versus success.
And do you
So
think,
yeah, crazy how.
I mean,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you're just teaching everybody like kind of what you learned through trial and error. So you put it into
Right. Yeah.
your course, and you're basically hooking people up with the secret key to YouTube. And it's weird, man. It's weird what takes off and what doesn't. And you know,
Right.
there's people who know how to make stuff go viral, and there's people who never will. And yeah, it like having that insight is very valuable, and that's why I'm so happy to talk to you, because I'm like, shit, I'm gonna learn as much as I can in the next hour, and
Uh,
hopefully it's gonna,
yes, sir.
you know,
Yes.
yeah, and I'm definitely gonna check out your program, because I need, all the help I can get, because you know, like I was saying earlier, Chat GBT, vidIQ, all the Opus Clips, all these different platforms, they all give you different information, and it's like
Yeah.
what actually works. And so somebody who's actually making it work, that seems like a good place to get the information from, because you can go to your channel and see your subscribers and your video counts and all that stuff, and they're high. And so you're not bullshitting people. Um, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No. Happy information for sure.
that is a question. So I have a tendency to cuss. Does the algorithm check that out, and does that lower my does that lower my potential of getting
Uh,
people?
yes and no. So it depends how much you cuss, the types of cusses you do,
Yeah,
because if they're really more on the vulgar side, it's possible for sure. And what they'll do is they'll just flag it for limited ads, which means there's some advertisers that just don't want to have their ads on which are having any kind of like vulgar language.
yeah,
Then that just limit amount of ads that you could actually have presented on your videos. So yeah, it's 100% possible, and around that is just add that nice little bleep
yeah.
noise,
Good to
over this,
know,
which kind of
because
adds a funny effect.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good to know, because I'm always dropping something. I'm not super vulgar, but it's just it's in the military and law enforcement, all this
yeah,
stuff, and we all
100%.
talk a lot of trash, and so it's just that comes. Okay, I'm gonna be a professional and calm down, and
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
want to be real too. So it's like people like authenticity as well. So I
most
think
definitely, and I respect that a lot, man. Honestly, because you are who you are, unapologetically you. I respect that completely. And it sucks because yeah, I mean, vulgar language and swear words, it really helps to emphasize whatever you're trying to say.
mm,
Sometimes it just doesn't hit the same without the swear word. So
I
I
know.
get it completely. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not trying to offend people. I'm just
completely.
trying to be myself and
No, come
let you
on, of
know how I
course.
talk.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Man,
Yeah, but
so
no, I understand. My parents are both. So I was just saying, like, my parents are both like 17 years in the military. So I had a
yeah,
very
yeah,
interesting childhood myself, and I know exactly how they talk, and
yeah. Swear
I was
like a
raised like
sailor.
that too.
That's
So
why
I get it. Yeah,
that's why the term's out there. They swear like a sailor. So
that's it.
man, so we kind of mentioned earlier about some of these other platforms, that like TikTok. I mean, that's got to be huge. Like, what type of money are we talking? Any idea? Billions of dollars of content creators that are frozen right now, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know three people myself that are doing between like 30 to 50,000 a month each just with
yeah,
TikTok, and that's excluding other platforms as well. So that's a chunk of change to lose
n-
for sure.
no
And
kidding.
I can't imagine again independent creators, right? This is just people who run the faceless channels who they're fine. It's a lot of money, but they're fine. They have a lot of other stuff going on. But the independent creators, the personalities, right, who are on there, who again have their livelihood based
Yeah,
on that platform, I don't know what they're up to now until
yeah.
things get resolved. I know Trump's trying to move mountains here.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's
Which
all about TikTok.
yeah,
They
yeah,
ban it the day before.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tomorrow he'll freaking
In our exactly,
reinstate it. Well, that'll be a win for
yeah,
him.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, coming
Side note, I don't know if you talk to or interested at all in crypto. Not to
yeah,
derail the conversation, but he
totally.
just launched his own meme coin
Yeah.
today, today. Yeah, yesterday. He launched a meme coin, and within one day, it hit $70 billion market cap. So I know a group of people who made 8 figures on that investment
Dude,
overnight, 8 figures overnight.
man, I'm like everybody. Oh, I heard about it. I literally like I knew about it in 2012. I have the sales of me buying and selling it still on my Coinbase account. And it's like,
Right.
oh man, I bought it at like 6,000 and then it dropped and I sold it at 3,000. I'm like, freaking out of here. Lost my money, and with
And
same with XRP, man. I had that like
yeah,
three years ago and it was like 40 cents or something. Finally, it just
if
didn't
you
move.
held
It
on
just
to
sat
that,
there forever, and it wasn't a
did you
lot
sell
of
it?
money, but yeah, I sold it. I'm back
Yeah,
into it
everyone did.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
back.
exactly. And that's the issue. You buy high, sell low,
Yeah,
and then you're like, yeah, I'm done with it. And then it ends up going up crazy again. You're like, oh, back in. And then it does the
yeah.
same thing
My
again.
my
Yeah.
brother-in-law, he is all in. Actually, if you want to search him, he's the Bitcoin savior on Instagram, and
Okay, nice, nice.
he's got his picture of Bitcoin Jesus on there, and so. But he's like been all in for I don't know 7 years. We freaking told him about it, and then he started researching it. I pulled out. He stayed in, and I mean he's
Oh
been
my
in
gosh.
forever, and he's crushing it. I mean he daily puts money in there because he's a a business savvy dude and has
Yeah,
the
yeah.
money to grow at it. So he's making that money, man.
Yeah, if you do it full time, man, to be honest, it's an incredible business model. Dare I call it business model? But it takes a level of resilience, willpower, and yeah, they're kind of like gambler's mentality in a sense. You have to be really, really good with being, risk adverse, of course,
Mhm.
but a lot of pressure, man, like a lot of internal mental pressure you need to be able to deal with those trades, high risk trades, and just like it's a lot, man. It's torn
Yeah,
me apart a few times whenever I tried. So I,
you
I
stay
tried
away
to,
from it,
but
or
I try to stay away. Yeah,
yeah.
a couple
No,
trades here and there. Yeah, pretty deep into it, but I lost a lot of money. So I just
yeah.
focus on my business and that's it. Stay in my own lane.
It seems like you're probably doing all right with your business, from checking out your Instagram and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I bought at like 98,000 and it went up to like 101. And I was like, I sold it, then it crashed down. And I bought it again. I
There
was
we
like,
go.
yeah, I made a
There
couple
you go.
grand, and for
There
me,
we go.
that's life changing money. Not really, but
No, no, it's cool though. It's a
it
win.
was free
It's
money.
a win.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is free money, yeah, technically. Until you lose it, and it's not free money. And
That's true.
that's the
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is it goes up or it goes down, right?
Yeah, yeah. Man, how
That's
was your
interesting.
dude, you started out at like 13 years old and um what was kind of like your upbringing? How'd you get your first computer? Were your parents into this? You say your parents were in the military. Were you just sitting around freaking playing with computers and you know, like you don't just
Yeah. So is it interesting, man? I mean, that was 17 years in the military before that was in Romanian military. So I'm actually
oh, wow.
Romanian
Yeah, yeah.
originally, but I lived in
Wow.
Canada for most of my life. I migrated when I was 2 with them, so basically Canadian. But yeah, that was 17 years they did, and then they moved over and just didn't speak a lick of English and um, had to kind of figure out how to make something of themselves. So to IT, built himself up from the ground, ended up working for like IBM and Microsoft. So did
Nice.
quite well in his later years. But until then, it was a massive, massive struggle. So struggled really, really bad in my childhood. And yeah, just enough. Like he did whatever he could just to supply me with whatever we needed, the basics and stuff. So I started a very, very basic, shitty laptop with everything. And that's why I said I needed to build up some capital to invest in that custom computer. And so, yeah, no, like I said, I just posted. I was young, so I didn't have responsibilities other than school, and that's it really, and video games. So that was my life, and I got really, really deep into that graphic design stuff. I never actually thought I was creative until I reflect back now and realize like everything that's an artistic outlet. Creating these designs and whatnot. And yeah, like I said, I just started posting. I show my parents. I'm like, look what I'm doing. People want to pay me, give me a PayPal account, something to collect this cash from. And they did. And it was, again, a bit of resistance because they just didn't even trust this online thing. Like they
Yeah.
just didn't want me down that path because they didn't know anything about it. And that's like a really interesting topic too, because as people that are raised in families who run businesses or are wildly, are successful, And I think like one of the biggest advantages of growing up in a household like that is that you can override these limits that everyone is born with and has limited beliefs when they're born, making 10K a month, being financially free, like being self sustainable, whatever, without work with for an employer. Naturally, we have these because that's what society kind of tells us in school. You're always being pushed to, raise your hand to talk and go down this path. And like it's very structured and systemized. And so they've and family who runs businesses or are successful is that you override those limiting beliefs immediately. You see a family that has already gone past that. They don't work for anyone. They're making great money. They work for themselves. And so it's not such a crazy, it's not a stretch to believe that you could start your own business and become, financially free on your own. But again, I had the opposite of that. Not only were they have very, very toxic relationships, it's very difficult to be influenced positively in the relationship space, which I had to go through a lot of work to get to where I'm now in a very, very happy relationship now. But the financial side was super tricky because again, a lot of pushback from them, from even friends and stuff too.
Mhm.
And I just had to just keep focused on that North Star that I had um, to get there. So yeah, it was interesting upbringing, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And when you're young, you have these little things about yourself that, you know, you don't realize it at the time when you're young. You may be creative. I was like you know, a nerdy tech kid. I'm 44 years old, so we started out on we didn't have laptops. They weren't even invented, we had, DOS and uh, you know, floppy disk, 3x5 floppy disk, and I was trying to get the computers to do shit they do now back then. I was like, why can't this play video for me? Like the TV and stuff like that, and we were tearing things apart. But yeah, it's we're born with those little you know, I don't know, that direction, those gifts, I feel like
For
everybody
sure.
has a gift. And if you're kind of a creative person, man, YouTube is the way to go. Like it's a very creative outlet. And I just started this in October, but since I was a little kid, I've told this story once before, but I had a microphone and a karaoke machine, and I was always talking on it and trying to be a personality, and, and 37 years later, I'm finally actually doing it. And I
So
don't know
sick.
where it's going, but I'm having a good time and my channel's growing. I did want to ask you about like the promotion aspect of YouTube. Like it has the promotion feed on there and you could pay to have your videos viewed and promoted. Um, like when your channel is starting out, is that a good way to get traction, or are you screwing up your algorithm?
Yeah, good question. Really good question because there's a bit of a myth that goes around where some people argue that as soon as you pay the big guys for ads, uh, they look at you like someone that they could just squeeze the lemon and just keep on getting you to pay for ads because they're like, if this guy is, well, why would we give him organic reach? He's just going
Yeah,
to pay for it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a myth, which could be true and it could not be true. I've tested the idea of running ads, but only with the customers. So I've only ever done it a kind of an action based perspective versus just trying to go viral. I don't necessarily think it helps for going viral, but I think it helps if if you have a video with an intention behind it, right? Trying to sell something or whatever it is. Um, and there's a call or, an offer there, then yeah, I mean, running an ad to your direct, um, like a calculated demographic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good idea. If you need millions and millions of views, you just need thousands.
Yeah,
Then yeah, it's a great, great idea.
yeah, that's kinda where I'm at. I mean, I've done some promotions on some of my videos. I mean, I'm at 15,000 subscribers, and it's been 4 months,
It's awesome, man.
on my
That's
channel. Yeah.
awesome.
So, obviously, I'm like, but my views, maybe I'm just making trash videos, but and I'm getting better, but people view them, and then I can watch the analytics after, a minute. People are dropping like flies, and so I've kind of changed some things on my last couple where I'm like, okay, I need to. People aren't even getting to the good part of the video and knowing what's in the video. So I'm going in, I'm clipping things, and I'm making kind of a trailer at the beginning now, so people can kind of see
Beautiful.
what we're going to be talking about, and then do the intro, and they can hear all the boring shit, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they know somewhere along the line it's going to get interesting. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and I went from an average view of like a minute to now my last two videos are like 6 minutes, and these are on, you know,
Awesome, man.
yeah, those are on 40-50 minute videos. So obviously they're not watching the whole thing, but I'll take 6 minutes because I haven't got the 4,000 hours yet. And good Lord, that takes a long time. Jeez,
Yeah.
I'm at
Yeah,
about
yeah.
1,000. And I'm like, guys, if you're watching this video, can you just watch one video for 1 hour and just call it a day, and I can get my hours so we can move
Yeah, no
on?
doubt.
Yeah, I
No
don't
doubt,
know.
no doubt, man. But 6 minutes is still, that's obviously a great increase from the 1 minute no matter
Yeah.
what, and that's kinda what I teach everyone as well, is just the 1% better every day, like, just finding ways to make improvements
Hmm.
at a very e even a molecular level is better than nothing. Because I know some people, I've had some come up to me, they want coaching, and they're like, "Yeah, I've been doing YouTube for a year, and I haven't seen much success." I'm like, "Show me your stuff." And this guy had 800 videos, and not a single video crossed 2,000 views. And I'm like, so not monetized, not anything. I'm like, that's insane. And he's like, yeah, someone told me to just be consistent and I'd eventually make it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you realize like you did the same thing on the first video as you did on the 800th video.
Yeah.
Like doing the same thing over and over, expecting it is what, it's
Definition
insanity.
of
That's the
insanity.
definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, that's literally it. This guy was insane. How do you expect to do the same thing and like not make any changes? And again, just a 1% better is going to get you so much further. So that's, yeah, you're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. The trailer idea is amazing. That's 100% how I do it. Just give like the juice right at the beginning, just preface and give people an idea. Because you need to sell people. That's the idea of YouTube. Like it's still selling. There's no point of sale. But the idea is that since no one's buying a thing, you have to sell them on the video. There's hundreds of videos, thousands of videos being posted, on a daily basis. So it gives them a reason to click on your video versus someone else's. That's the selling process, right?
Yep. Yeah, and so I'm starting to see like my returning viewers are going up too. So that's key.
Nice.
Yeah, I went from at 15,000 subscribers, my returning is right around 1,000, and I don't know how that works.
Yep.
Why somebody would subscribe and then just never come back to the channel, but maybe they're just giving me that. All right, this guy's try, and I'll be nice and hit the button for him, or uh,
I mean, I can kind of break that down just to understand like the algorithm, how it works.
mhm,
Because back in the day, like back when I was doing YouTube at first, subscribers were a leading indicator of somebody seeing your content on their feed. That's completely shifted. So it's no longer the case. I can subscribe to you and never ever be recommended a piece of content unless I go search you up and then find your content again. So the point, or what they do now, is they've optimized the algorithm to show you more of what you already want to watch, what you already do watch, and what you would probably want to watch next. So if someone's actively watching your channel or different videos or different videos that are very similar to yours, then there's a likelihood that you will get recommended in their feed, right? That's how people usually watch videos, is from their home feed. And so unless again, they're searching you up. So the subscribers, unfortunately, like they are great in terms of authority and everything else, but they're just a vanity metric. Like they
yeah,
literally mean nothing. They
yeah,
don't influence how much views you're going to get, how much money you make, nothing. The only thing that matters on YouTube is that's it. That's how
yeah,
you get paid. That's how really the direct indicator of whether people like you or, want to come back and watch. So subscribers do, because if they subscribe and they turn on notifications bell, then they get a notification, which is nice. Not everyone does that. But yeah, the idea is not to kind of focus more or less on subscribers, which again, that's great for authority and you do need that in yours, but really just to optimize for views, which again sounds like common sense. But just to understand as well, like the idea of someone subscribing doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come back, because
yeah.
they don't get shown your content. It's not your fault. It's just how the algorithm is built right now.
Yeah, and part of me is like, I don't necessarily want. I mean, I want people to get notified if I post something, but I don't want to. I don't want to annoy them either, because I know sometimes I get
Yeah.
notifications. I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear this from this person right now. Like they're all right, but I don't have any control on my end. But they do have like the premiere um, function on YouTube where you could premiere a video, and I don't know if that's how that's different than just posting a video? Does it go out to people differently? Does it show up in their feed differently?
No, Premiere is an interesting one when you have a decent following. What you could do with it is essentially launch that Premiere, and then if people again have that notifications bell, it's really subscriber based for sure. When you have like a good quality audience that enjoys your content, they kind of watch out for your content per se. You'll Premiere, it'll show up on the home screen, it'll show up wherever it's recommended, but it won't be, as you know, you can't watch that video. It's going to sit there, and then you have this kind of like area where people can chat amongst each other, and there's that anticipation that's being built.
Mm,
You know,
I see.
it's launching in 10 hours, whatever it may be, which is really cool. So you can kind of have your viewers chilling there, building anticipation. So it's a great strategy. I don't know if it depends on the volume and frequency. If you post every single day, I mean, you can't really build much anticipation because anticipation is based on scarcity, right? So if you're posting very, very frequently, it's not going to be
Yeah, they're like just
too
another
crazy
video.
for them. They're just
Yeah,
another video. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think one thing to really focus on, because these are again just these are metrics that you can look at, which would do like an incremental increase. You could optimize the hell out of like the tags and the settings and the categories, and you could have it dialed into the nines. It will give you a boost, but very incremental. Versus the biggest increase you could have is really understand how to target the right audience, like really knowing who your ICP is, like your ideal customer profile, who really watching your content, and then figure out their interests, their wants, their demands, their fear, like everything about them. The more you can study who actually watches your content, the more you can tailor the content around them and tailor the packaging of your video, right? Your thumbnail and your title.
Mm,
That's the key. So again, let's talk emotionally driven titling. If I'm talking about how I run this YouTube automation business and how my channels are generating all this income and it's passive and I don't show my face, so you could talk about the title could be like, if you're introverted and don't know what to do in 2025, watch this video or learn how to use YouTube automation to build passive income. That's a long title, of course, but that kind of concept where it's like you really bring out an emotion by pegging on a fear or pain and then bringing a solution at the end. And there's not much keywords in there, right? Like there is and there
yeah,
isn't, but the point is you're giving someone a solution to a problem. And that's kind of how, again, business is created, right? You're based in a business, you get paid based on the proportion of value that you bring to the marketplace. So the more value you can bring to your videos and how much emotion you can induce to, you convince someone to click on your video, that's the key thing. So those are the skill sets I really think that you should be building now. Again, everything else is really a vanity metric and it's just extras and it's cool
yeah,
to tweak around those little things, but again, incremental difference versus that one thing. Like, that's how you really make that big push.
yeah. Part of me is like, man, maybe I should have went into just a faceless channel because then I could have created all kinds of stuff. I
I
guess
mean, you
it's
still
not too
can
late.
in
But dude,
parallel.
I'm so
Totally.
busy, right? Like, I mean,
I
I might,
can
because
imagine.
with AI and the ChatGPT will write you a script, and then you plug it into something else. It'll create a whole video based on it, and then you get somebody to voice over the thing. And it's like, yeah, I didn't do anything except just tell it what to do, and you know, you got to kind of piece it together. Are you doing that on your own? Or are you hiring people out to do the video editing portion of things?
Yeah, yeah. If you want the secret sauce, I'll let
Yeah.
you in. So
Uh,
basically, you've hammered on some of it. So AI is really just oh man, it's a game changer. I feel like it's opened up YouTube again. It's
mhm,
like YouTube 2.0. It really is, and I say that because there's so many different niches that many would argue are just they're too saturated, way too competitive. It's not worth getting into. Like mostly like finance and make money online and
mhm.
crypto and all the high ticket ones, and many other ones as well. So they were very difficult because again, there's a lot of people doing them, but also the videos were really really well done. Like high production. They spend a lot of money on the scripting process and they have the best script writers and best editors. But now with AI, you could match and sometimes supersede that quality for a fraction of the price if you do it correctly, of course. Like most AI is garbage. And if you don't know how to prompt your AI, it's still garbage. So there's that contingency of knowing how to prompt a correct prompt for your AI too. So for my students, oh man, we have pages and pages of prompt engineering that goes behind the AI to then which student can come in and write, I want a 10-minute script on a documentary of an orca whale. It's the most basic prompt. And it'll really spit out something beautiful because it has a massive knowledge base behind it. So the key is, again, prompting it properly. But one thing I can mention here is the same concept as I told you, knowing your ICP, right? Your ideal customer profile. It's the same thing here. It's like knowing the uh, how a proper script is formulated, having like an SOP, having a framework of how a proper script should be formatted. Doing that research and that due diligence first is how we build out our prompts, right? So I go in, say I pick a niche. I'll go in and I'll download like 5 videos, and then I'll take their scripts. I'll extract their scripts, and then I'll put those into ChatGPT. I'll say, hey, please analyze these scripts and let me know why these were viral videos, and break them down in a very analytical way. I want to understand how long the intro is. How did they start their intro? Does it start with this question, a fact? And how does the intro transition to the, like, all these really granular level detail questions to really break it down and like reverse engineer why those 5 videos were so wildly successful, and take all that data and build a framework, right? Build an SOP, like a standard operating procedure around that. Then you take that information and feed it into the AI and say, hey, this is what a winning script looks like. Now ask me some questions about my niche and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now you have this like fully built, like ready to go machine where, again, you can ask a simple prompt, but it's using all that knowledge base. And so that's the kind of level of detail that I make my students go through to really understand their avatar, the people who are supposed to be watching their videos, and to understand their competition, again, on a granular level.
Mhm.
So then you can really create some videos. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It seems like you're almost stealing money. It's not that,
Yeah.
when you break it down and you know what you're supposed to be doing, it isn't that hard. I mean, it takes a lot of work and learning and stuff like that, but it's not like, if you have half a brain, you could probably do it. I'm a tech nerd myself, so I mean, I'm kind
There
of
you
all
go.
over the place. Like, I'm all over the place when it comes
Yeah.
to what I'm interested in, and so yeah, dude, this kind of information is very valuable, and I love it, man. So if people want to get a hold of you, get a hold of your product, I don't know if there's anything I'm missing out there that you would like to share with other people, but it's I don't want to steal your whole day from you,
No, totally. No, it's totally fine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just to echo off of what you were mentioning with the tech savvy, like that helps a lot. It's a huge advantage to kind of know your way around technology. But one of my students, her name is Rose. I love her to death. She's 63 years old. And that was a challenging one for her. She came in not at like zero knowledge of technology, but like negative knowledge.
Yeah.
I had to help her get rid of like 2 viruses on her computer so she could use her computer. And I had to help her create a Gmail because she was still using AOL. So like really far behind, and
Wow.
she's crushing it now. She's making thousands of dollars a month. So yeah, the systems are there. She put in the work. It's not like she just came in and money just appeared out of
Yeah.
nowhere. She
Yeah.
put in the work, systems, and there's work involved around those systems. But really, again, if you really are trying to just do something online and build some sort of income stream for yourself, or just show yourself that you can, do online business, you don't have to be forced down that one traditional path. This is a really good model. The other reason that I love it and why many people love it is because if you're introverted, like many people, it's an
Mm,
incredible way to do business,
mm,
because most businesses require a front facing element, right? Business meetings, recording content of yourself for branding, etc. Like there's so much stuff, talking to clients, selling clients, building out, all these different things. You have to do any of that stuff, right?
yeah.
Most of the team, most of your business is now done by AI, number one, and you never have to show your face in front of the camera because it's all done faceless. And so, yeah, that just it's one of many, many reasons why it's a really interesting business model in this day and age to get into, because of that kind of barrier of entry, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like we're in the golden age of making content, making money. Like it doesn't get any better than right. It is very, very easy if you have the knowledge and know where to go get those questions answered. Um,
That's it.
I had one more question. What the hell was I going to ask you? It was on like branding, monetization for myself. Just out of curiosity, like
Yeah.
I'm not selling anything. I'm trying to. I'm just literally. I'm just helping people, and that's kind of my jam. I really do have a heart to help veterans and law enforcement and just people in general because there is so much like tragedy in this world and misery and depression and stuff. And so I really most of my focus is on helping people and showing them that there is a way out of this, which you are doing by providing, somebody might not have any freaking money or know what's my career going to be. And this is an opportunity, like it literally is. But for somebody like me, I don't have a program I'm not selling anything. I'm just being myself and trying to help people. Like, how do you get branding once, I don't know if you even do that in a faceless channel because you don't really have to. You're just putting shit out there and people are making money. But on the other side, I don't know if you have any experience with this side of things with the face channel where people are trying to. I don't care. I don't need to make a bunch of money, but I sure would like to just do this for a job and not have to be gone and actually, work at a different job.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I got some sauce for you for sure.
All right.
You're definitely onto something, man. So I have to say, the way that you're starting your journey is the way I started my journey. When I put those videos out there, I didn't actually anticipate to make money on it at all whatsoever. So more or less, it was like, call it an altruistic action, just posting videos. And I wanted to help everyone around me because I felt like I came across something amazing.
Mhm.
And like I said, in between, I said I created that micro community, which turned to a large community. That's a huge, huge thing that people need today, especially in the niche that you're in. People who have come from the military, who have experienced a lot of trauma, who have a lot of people have PTSD coming out of that,
Mhm.
and a lot of people feel, they feel like they don't feel understood, and it's because they go through what majority of the population would never even imagine going through, and so they need people that they can communicate and connect with on a level where there's that, understanding of what they've gone through. And so community is huge. And that's also something I really value in my own program is a community. It's extremely strong. Like we have super engaged community, people that are very passionate about each other. They inspire each other, they motivate each other. And you need that when you're running a business or you want to start something. Because otherwise you do it alone. It's very difficult. You run into a wall, you look left and right, there's no one there. It's really hard. And so having a community is a powerful thing. So I think for you, starting off the way you are now, you're building this community of people, and it's very, very altruistic because you're not charging a thing for it. You're just doing it out of good faith. Like you just
Mhm.
love what you're doing. You're passionate about it. You said when you've been wanting to do this since you were a kid,
Yeah.
and here you are, which is amazing, bringing it to life. And so you will get to a point where what you're building, people are going to want to be able to connect with more people like you or like themselves, and you can facilitate that. You can build this community and a free community to start, and then eventually you can really start charging. And don't think of it in a way where I'm capitalizing on all these people who want to chat with each other. No, like people are willing to pay to be involved in a community where they have their specific demographic of people that are just like them, and they can just connect with others. Like we're humans, we want to connect with others. And if you're able to facilitate an environment where people feel safe and inclined to just chat with each other and, get on calls and connect, and you can just have people talk about war stories, like God knows,
Yeah.
who knows how you can kind of go down that route. But it's an interesting route. Man, I know a guy, I'll tell you a crazy story. This landscaper, it's super off top. It's more, yeah. He's a landscaper and he built a Facebook page, the most basic Facebook page you can imagine. And it was just a Facebook page for landscapers who own their own like, business who just want to connect with each other.
Mhm.
That's it. Got really, really big. And then he's like, screw it, I'm gonna monetize it. He made it $100 a month for this. Okay. So that's a lot of money, first of all, for such a basic group. But these guys they loved just having other people to chat with. Like these landscapers knew the type of difficulties that other landscapers were dealing with and how they could kind of navigate those. And it was just a place where they could just ask questions and connect and maybe share leads or resources, whatever it is. And basically everyone paid. And there was over 1,000 people in that group.
Wow.
You can do the math. It's a
Yeah.
shitload of money.
He's
Pardon my
making more
French.
than no, he's making more than the landscaping. That's awesome.
And the
And
landscaping company. Yeah.
he
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's helping those guys out because I'm sure they're bouncing all kinds of
That's
questions off each other and that's probably a job that you kind of feel a little lonely in sometimes. I would imagine, you're out there just grinding, and yeah, there's other guys out there doing it. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And like, what's $100 to, a guy who runs some, landscaping companies are up and coming. They can't afford that, but man, 1,000 people. And that was
Yeah,
like literally within 2 months, which is crazy. So just an idea to peg off of what I was trying to mention. There's a lot of opportunity out there to build these communities. Again, people find value in communities, but specifically niche communities. You coming out of history with the military, you could walk the walk and talk the talk. You've been there. It's not like me coming and being like, I'm going to build this community of military vets.
yeah, yeah,
I can't,
yeah.
you can. And that's, you create that safe place for them. And man, people again want to be connected. So I think that's like, if I was going to give you my 100% top recommendation is to build a community. Where you build it is up to question.
Not on TikTok.
There's a lot of difference. No, not as of today for sure. But like a place where people can actually connect and chat with each other. I think a Facebook group is probably the easiest because the next step is like school community, which is not bad. But WhatsApp is nice because the older demographic of people are on WhatsApp. Sorry, oh my God, Facebook. And so there's a lot of friction there because
Yeah.
you're not, it's a popular app that everyone uses. So you don't have to send them from one platform to another. So you want always the least amount of friction when it comes to building a community. So it can just be active. They're already there scrolling on reels and messaging their friends. If why not, they can pop into the community. Yeah, I would really, really advise something like that and just make it free at first. And then you can just start charging because, hey, you can say, hey, I'm spending a lot of time, facilitating this group and I know everyone loves it and I want to be more involved, but I have this full-time job and whatever it is, and it's taking
Mhm.
me time. But if I could monetize this a little bit, I could offload that and spend more time with you guys. It's easy ways to kind of justify monetizing it if you even want to. You don't have to.
Yeah. I
And then
mean,
eventually you s- you know,
yeah, I literally am like, my listeners, nah, I wouldn't want to monetize that per se. Obviously, if I'm bringing value to somebody and, they appreciate it and they want to have that connection, then yeah, eventually I would do something like that. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm just going to keep putting this out and hopefully people like it and they subscribe. And, if I make a $100 on YouTube after a year of doing this, I'll be happy. So,
yeah, fair enough, man. It's all stepping stones. Once you make your first 100, like, damn, why not five? Of course, if I made
yeah.
100, I can make five, and so on and so forth. But yeah, just you could do it now. Just start building community again. Don't charge. Don't even think about charging. Just build it now, and you'll thank yourself later when that 5 people that join turns to 20, turns to 100, turns to 1,000, and then you do something at the end because they'll ask you to. They'll be like,
Let's do
build
this.
something. Let's do
Yeah,
this. Yeah, 100%. You'll see. You'll see if you build goodwill with people, they're more than happy to pay to just be a part of it.
right on,
You'll see.
man.
You think it's backwards, like you want to squeeze them. It's not like that at all. At all.
I'm blessed, so I don't need to squeeze anybody, but I definitely would like
Beautiful,
to
man.
do this full time, and so man,
Yeah, for sure.
you're helping people out. If they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are interested at all in chatting with me, learning more about what the hell I do, feel free to just reach out to me on Instagram. It's a short one. It's called It's Vic. So ITSVICKK. So it's with 2 Ks. Maybe a little complicated, but
I'll
you'll
put it
find me
I'll
right
put it
away.
I'll put it on the screen so people can see
Sweet,
it.
sweet.
Yeah, and I'll
Appreciate
tag you and
that.
everything. Man, I really
Most
appreciate you
definitely it.
taking time to spit the knowledge and answer all my YouTube questions and stuff because
Of course.
I had questions, but I know there's a lot of other people out there who are interested in this, and they're looking at me and they're like, "He's growing so fast. I could do that." Well, maybe you could, but it would sure be a lot more helpful. It would have been more helpful for me if I had, a resource like you're providing to people. So I
Right,
appreciate
right.
it, and keep hustling and making that money, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Seriously, it's so nice to meet you and appreciate being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you much.
All right. Take care, Tim.